Negotiators for the U.S. and Ukraine have signaled that progress is being made in a peace deal to end the war between Ukraine and Russia. But there does seem to be some disagreement over how involved the U.S. has been in the plan.
Some lawmakers are claiming that the plan is essentially a, quote, Russian wish list rather than an American proposal. Here's South Dakota Senator Mike Brown speaking at a security forum in Canada over the weekend.
Secretary Rubio did make a phone call to us this afternoon. I think he made it very clear to us that we are the recipients of a proposal that was delivered to one of our representatives. It is not our recommendation. It is not our peace plan.
Later that evening, Senator Rounds appeared to backtrack on those comments. He posted on X, "I appreciate Secretary Rubio briefing us earlier today on their effort to bring about peace by relying on input from both Russia and Ukraine to arrive at a final deal." And Secretary of State Marco Rubio defended the plan, writing, "Ending a complex and deadly war such as the one in Ukraine requires an extensive exchange of serious and realistic ideas, and achieving a durable peace will require both sides to agree to difficult but necessary conditions. That is why we are and will continue to develop a list of potential ideas for ending this war based on input from both sides of the conflict." The peace proposal was authored by the U.S. It is offered as a strong framework for ongoing negotiations. It is based on input from the Russian side, but it is also based on previous and ongoing input from Ukraine.
But other lawmakers still feel that the plan is too favorable to Russia and that it will ask Ukraine to make unreasonable concessions. Mississippi Senator Roger Wicker says, quote, "This so-called peace plan has real problems, and I am highly skeptical it will achieve peace. Ukraine should not be forced to give up its lands to one of the world's most flagrant war criminals in Vladimir Putin. The size and disposition of Ukraine's armed forces is a sovereign choice for its government and people. And any assurances provided to Putin should not reward his malign behavior or undermine the security of the United States or allies. In particular, any suggestion that we can pursue arms control with a serial liar and killer like Putin should be treated with great skepticism."
According to the New York Times, President Trump has given Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky until Thursday to agree to the plan, but he did suggest it was not a final offer and the deadline could be extended if there was progress in the negotiations. I just don't... Look, what else do you want? They're not gonna win back Ukraine. If Putin is a serial liar, and yes, he is, but then what's the point of negotiating at all? Then they're gonna fight and they'll lose the whole country and Russia will conquer all of Ukraine. There's no alternative idea. Everyone who doesn't like this is unhelpful because they won't say what they want instead. What do they want instead? Tell me, what can we get instead? There's no answer to that. There's no solution.
You're saying there's no answer because Russia's just going to say no? Because I think there's a lot of things, like don't cede the land that Russia has taken already.
Then they'll take it by force.
So you're saying Russia's just going to say no to any type of negotiating. You're saying that Russia just is the end-all, be-all. They make all the decisions.
I'm saying it's this plan or Russia conquers all Ukraine.
Yeah, but you're just saying that people are not providing another solution. Another solution would be go back to Russia and say, no, maybe you take this land, don't take these. Russia's like, we're taking everything they've ceded already, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah, that's happening.
Anywhere around
that's
here.
Done.
That's what I'm saying. So then there are other plans that have been proposed, but Russia is not even, they're completely ignoring it, and President Trump's not doing anything about Russia and the just sheer disrespect that they can just do whatever they want.
Not doing anything about what can be
He's
done about it.
He's called him to multiple meetings and said that he's the great negotiator. I don't know. If President Trump is the ultimate negotiator, then why can't he have a conversation with his friend?
He's got this is a great deal. It's a deal where all of Ukraine doesn't get conquered. That's the best deal you're going to get.
Mike Brown said specifically that this was authored by Russia with no Ukraine input and handed over on a platter to our leadership to take and sign off on and give to Ukraine. And now you're rushing Ukraine and telling them they have by our Thanksgiving to get this turned in and say yes to, when it's really a disaster that gives them nothing. It forces Ukraine to shrink its army. It also tells that NATO can come nowhere near Ukraine, so they're never going to be protected in that way if Russia decides to uptick this aggression again in the future. It's also rewarding a dictator that continues to push in on territory that pushes them closer to our allies in NATO, that make the wider population of Europe uncomfortable. And we're just rewarding it. Like, go ahead, do whatever you want.
There's no plan that doesn't reward it. They'll be rewarded because they won the reward. They won the battle.
You like Russian partisan influence dictating the documents that we present when we're the mediators and negotiators in conversations. You like
I
that
would like
Russia
to live in
tells us
magical
what to
fairyland
do.
where we
It's
say,
not
you're so
magical
mean,
fairy.
Mr. Putin, go back to your own
it's not
country, and
magical fairy.
withdraws from Ukraine. But that's
President Trump said
never
we can
going
live in
to
magical
happen.
fairyland. He said that he would solve this a few days into his presidency. We're now at Christmas time, basically. He hasn't solved it, and now he just gave in to say, Russia, do whatever you want. That is where we are. And so the larger message that we send to the rest of the world is,
No, saying
if you
Russia, do
decide
whatever you
to-
want would be withdrawing entirely and letting the country fall to Russia, as it will, unless we get some kind of peace deal. If Trump thinks he can get a better deal, I trust him to attempt to do that. It's very difficult because Russia is winning this war, and it's winning it by default.
The president has
which we've
threatened to
been
cut
saying for
off
2 years.
aid to Ukraine if they don't comply with this deal. How raggedy of behavior is that when you already berated the president of Ukraine multiple times in the Oval Office? This is the
our
victim.
money they're
and
not entitled to.
I know, but they're not
They
the
have no
aggressors of
entitlement
this.
to our support.
They are not the aggressors of this war. And so the same energy that he meets Zelensky with, he should go to Putin with, because at the end of the day, the U.S. is supposed to be the superpower, and we're setting a precedence that Putin can continue to do whatever he wants. We're even going to allow him to join back into G8
We're not at war with Russia.
We're not at war.
We're not at war with Russia.
But we're
If we were
supplying.
at war with Russia, then we would be committing troops. Is that what you're in favor of?
No, our allies
You're right.
are
That's
in
what
favor of.
no one is in favor
Our
of.
allies in Europe that all joined in the meeting with the president of Ukraine at the White House, and they all European allies came to talk to the president, are in favor of something that makes their surrounding lands that are close to Russia feel protected, that makes everybody that's in NATO feel protected. We've already seen Russia flying over airspace that is NATO. We've talked about the aggression being stepped up. Russia has a sheer lack of respect for not only President Trump, but America and all of our European allies. And so simply people are asking, if you're taking a handwritten plan directly from Russia and accepting all their propaganda within this plan and saying anything that you want, let's hand it over directly as is to Ukraine. And we're having senators like Mike Rounds go to a conference and say, we're just looking over reviewing this plan, but this came directly from Russia with no Ukraine say so at all. So that's not called a negotiation. That's called bending the knee.
If this is what ends the war, then let's do it. Let's end it. They're winning. They don't need to negotiate. Russia doesn't need to negotiate because it's just going to conquer all of the country. Is that, if you said, let's go with your plan, let's say, you know what, this isn't good enough for Ukraine, so no, we reject it and we're going to keep arming them. And then, okay, then Russia takes a little bit more territory a couple months from now. Let's say 2 years from now they've conquered all of Ukraine. Will you say, well, at least we tried? Like, would you feel good about yourself if that was the outcome?
I don't think.
Because that will be the outcome, I guarantee you.
Simmer down. I think Russia should not want to continue this war. It's also
Russia should not want to. They do.
You act like it's not draining their own resources. We talked about this. It is. They do not want to continue.
That's a
They didn't even think that
fantasy.
Ukraine could continue out this long by pushing them back. Ukraine has not just been sitting along getting stomped over. We've been providing them with
You
materials
said
to
that
fight
they
back.
shouldn't want to fight. But
No.
Putin, they is Vladimir Putin, and he does.
No.
He's not
He
losing
cannot
anything.
He cannot go on forever and continue to waste funds and resources. Like the same way that our economy is not at its highest, neither is theirs to continue to funnel money into this war. They thought that it would be easily won. And so
Adolf Hitler had the same hope when he tried to invade Russia. They lost millions in that war. The Russian side, they'll throw bodies at the machinery. That's what they've done in every major global conflict for 200 years and more.
Well, that shouldn't deserve a Nobel Peace Prize then, for somebody who just gives Russia everything they're looking for. That's not peace. That's allowing a dictator to win. That's my opinion.
Yeah, okay.
Next on Rising, did a Fox News host invite John Fetterman to dinner? We'll be right back after this.